Hello students, I welcome you all for our online learning session of chapter number 8, Role of Parliament in a Democratic Country of session 2. Now in today's session, I'll be basically discussing about the two important houses of the parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So it's very important for us to understand firstly the important points on both of these houses in order to understand completely parliament. So in last session I had already discussed about Indian parliament as well as the functions of parliament. So in today's session I'll just move further with the topic. So today we'll study about the two important houses of the parliament. So that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Apart from that, we'll also discuss some of the important topics, say like forming government, then we'll also study about ruling government. So many important topics like this I'll be discussing with all of you. So it's very important for all of you to please keep on writing important points and keep doing the regular work that I give you at the end of the session. Uh, and make sure that you do it sincerely on daily basis, because if you do regular practice of these important topics and keep revising the chapter, it will be very easy for you to answer the questions in your exams. Okay, so keep on doing the good work, keep on revising the notes, worksheet solutions. So try doing it all sincerely, and I'm sure it's going to be very easy for you to understand these chapters if you do the regular work of revision. Okay, so let's get started for our session. So in this particular session, basically I'll be discussing firstly about the Lok Sabha, and then we'll move on with other topics. So we'll first understand some important information about Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is the lower house of the parliament. The members of the Lok Sabha are the representatives of the people who are elected through direct election. So the members in the Lok Sabha are basically directly elected by the people, simply because they are direct elections for getting selected in Lok Sabha. So these elections are direct and people select their own representatives. Currently, the strength of Lok Sabha in the parliament is 545. State of Gujarat has a representation of 26 members in the Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha is also called as lower house because it is the house of the people, and Lok Sabha is known for the representation directly from the people. So people uh, select their own leaders, and any problems that people face are being represented by the very own people whom they have selected in the parliament. So now we'll also look into the role of a speaker in Lok Sabha. The Speaker of Lok Sabha is one among the members of the House, and no proceedings can take place in his or her absence. So the role of speaker is very important in Lok Sabha because the speaker takes the entire proceedings, and there can be no session without the speaker in the Lok Sabha. So speaker plays a very important role in Lok Sabha. The candidates who contest for the seat in parliament are usually active in various political parties. So if you see anyone who is interested to be the member of parliament, he or she has to be active in any of the political parties, because mostly the members who get selected as the parliament members, they usually are very active in various political parties. So some or other way they are involved in the political parties, and they have the backup from the political parties. So it is very important to be a member of a political party first, and only then you can enter into the parliament elections. So candidates who usually dream of becoming the members or the seat in parliament has to first have the membership in any of the political parties. Lok Sabha members are elected directly from the people. They directly get represented by the people, and the general elections are held every 5 years. Now, the second important house, that is Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is the second chamber of the parliament and represents the states and union territories of the nation. So, Rajya Sabha here is basically an important house of the parliament, as well as it is also known as the second chamber of the parliament, and represents the states and union territories of the nation. So, the members, the people who are seen in states and union territories, so their interest has been taken care by the Rajya Sabha. It is empowered to protect the interest of the states and union territories. So any issues and problems that the states undergo has been taken care by the members of the Rajya Sabha. The members of the Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected by the members of the legislative assemblies of the states. So the members of the Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected. So there is no direct election here like we see in Lok Sabha. Here it is indirect elections. So the members are elected with the help of legislative assemblies of the states and the union territories. There are total 250 members in Rajya Sabha. So the total seats are 250. Total 250 members are seen in Rajya Sabha. The Vice President of India acts as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So in Lok Sabha, Speaker takes the entire proceedings, whereas in Rajya Sabha, the Vice President of India acts as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So now we'll look into forming of a new government. So we'll see how the government is formed soon after the elections. The process of forming a new government begins immediately after a parliamentary election. So soon after the election gets over, the first step that happens is the new government is formed. So the party which wins over depends whether it's a coalition government or the independent party which has won over the election. So as the government is formed, the majority members of that particular party will be taken as the cabinet ministers, and one member will be selected as the prime minister. So this process lays the foundation for the policies the new government will pursue. So soon after the elections, the new government is formed and new policies are formed based on the new government. So they design new policies for the welfare of the people. So now we look into the ruling party. Now, basically, the ruling party or governing party or political party in a democratic parliamentary system is the political party or coalition holding a majority of elected positions in a parliament that administers the affairs of the state. So, here, if you look into the ruling party or governing party or political party is all one. Ruling party is also known as governing party or political party. Now, in a democratic parliamentary system, is the political party or coalition. Now, after the elections, usually a party which is winning over the elections, uh, it can be if the party has won on its own, then that particular political party takes over the important positions, or sometimes if the required seats are not won by the party, then coalition government occurs. So it takes the help of the other parties and forms the government. And once the government is formed, important positions are allotted to the respective members, and that's how the administration of the country starts, because they start taking the control of the affairs of the state. So this is how the ruling party start functioning in order to take the control of the government. So now we'll look into the next topic, that is when will a bill become an act. So actually there is a long procedure through which a bill undergoes, and in the final stage it becomes an act. So we'll just look into it. The parliament does the important work of framing new laws and nullifying obsolete laws. So it's actually a very important job of the parliament to make sure they make new laws, and not only making new laws but also to remove the outdated and uh, laws which are not valid, so that they can frame new laws. And sometimes if there's any changes to be made in the present laws, they can also do amendments. So any of the bills, either ordinary bill, money bill, or the bill to amend the constitution, can become an act if it is passed by both the houses. So any bill in that matter, if it is passed by both the houses in majority, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, then it goes for the final consent to the president. So what the president does is, he or she signs the bill, and many a times it is, most of the time it is signed, but in rare cases if it is sent back, then the parliament has to start the procedure again. So the signature of the president is very important, and once the president signs the bill, then it is assured that it is going to become an act. So this is how the bill passes through Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and then it goes to the president for his final consent. Now, coming towards the end of this session, I'm sure you all enjoyed the chapter well. Now, the task for home is to write down neatly a brief note on Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, so you can also add some extra points if you have found on Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, as well as you can take important points from this session, and you can write a brief note on Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now, these are some of the important topics of the chapter, whichever I'm giving you as a homework. So, if you are thorough with it, I'm sure you can have a good score in exams. So, make sure that you write down, first learn it and then neatly write down in a book without seeing. So, that would be even more better. So, that we'll have a good practice of the important topics of the chapter. So, for our next session, I'll be discussing some of the other important topics, the last part of the chapter. So, I'll be discussing on question hour session, which is conducted in the parliament. So, we'll study more on it. And apart from question hour session, I'll also look into opposition party. What is opposition party? What is the role of opposition party? Why it is needed? And one more topic like casting vote. What is casting vote? Why it is issued by the speaker in the parliament? So some of the important topics like this will look into detail in the next session, so you can also find some information and be ready for our next session.